everyone. Do you ever feel like you're like not living? That sounds awful. I don't mean not living, but I feel like the current situation I'm living in isn't real. It's March, it's 6 p.m. and it's like randomly super dark outside and it's raining heavily, which it doesn't do very often in Spain. And I'm drinking a matcha. I bought matcha. I hadn't even tried matcha before until like a week ago, but I just felt like there's this book I read about a month or two ago that has just stuck with me, and I really can't go another week without telling you guys about it, in the hopes that just one person will buy this book and tell me that it changed their life too. Because since I finished that book, I feel like, as the title says, it's made me rethink my whole life. So the book is called A Million Miles in 1,000 Years, and the book is by Donald Miller. This book was surprising for me. It was both heartwarming and tragic. It started off with a simple man talking about how he was living a boring life, and it ended with a philosophy for hope and adventure. Whilst I was reading this book, I felt like I was in a cafe talking to a friend, and he was telling me about some revelation that had happened in his life, and it felt so intimate that I felt as though I was there with him the whole time. It's a true story, and it's basically the inner thoughts of a writer as he's going through a movie deal, and the filmmakers are kind of dramatizing his life, and he's realizing, I don't have enough of a story personally to ever have a movie written about me. And it makes him realize that he needs to do more. There's so many things in life that he's just simply taken the easy route out, and he hasn't pushed himself. And so the book takes you through the journey of him, I guess, finding his meaning in life. One of the main takeaways from this book is that we need to be telling a better story, and I'll probably mention this a lot throughout this video about how we need to be creating better memories. We need to be pushing our characters, as he tends to refer to himself during this book. Another big part of this book was about how we can't find perfection in our life. If we're constantly trying to be the most impressive person in our circle, and we're trying to be the greatest person on earth, we're just going to find ourselves even further from who we really are. The last thing that comes up in the book a lot, which I normally shy away from, is religion. I'm personally not religious, and therefore when I tend to read books about religion, I kind of skip those parts because to me they don't relate. But for some reason, with this book, his mentioning of God didn't faze me, and it actually really intrigued me. Now, the way that I want to discuss this book is just by a few quotes that I've selected that really struck me, and I hope that you guys can like pause the video when the quotes come up and just think about them the way that I've been doing, and come up with your own ideas, and then we can kind of discuss it together as I talk. But before we get into the video, I want to inspire some people who maybe aren't reading as much as they would like to. Reading's always been something that I think most people wish they did more. No one ever says, oh, I read too much. I have a little hack for you guys. I have been using short form for I think the past 5 or 6 months now. It's basically a cheat way of, oh my gosh, I have 5 minutes during my break at work, let me go find a book I want to read. I use this platform to find the books I want to read next, and they have these one-page summaries so you can quickly figure out whether the book that people recommended to you is for you or not. Short form is really great for on-the-go reading. For example, recently Emilio had recommended me Man's Search for Meaning. I just wasn't inspired by the cover of the book, and so I went on short form to read the one-page summary, and immediately was like, I'm gonna love this book, and here we go, I loved the book. So thank you to short form for giving me the push I needed to read the book. Now I managed to actually get a quick sneaky deal with short form, and if you guys click on my link below or go to shortform.com/Lucy, you can actually get 30% off your annual subscription, which is a crazy amount. Which is actually over half off, so you can get access to thousands of books cheaper than buying a book a month. So go and check out that amazing deal. Sorry in advance if I get really deep. I think life is staggering, and we're just too used to it. We're all like spoiled children, no longer impressed with the gifts we're given. This one really hit me because I feel like I've personally lived a super blessed life, and when I find myself in positions where I'm meeting new people, I talk a lot, and a lot of the stories I tell are almost unbelievable, and even when I tell them, I don't believe that they happened to me because I've just experienced so many great things. And when I look back during most of those moments, I was never fully in the moment, and I was never fully impressed with how amazing it was. An example of this was I was living with an au pair family in Italy. We went on this boat trip for I think 3 weeks through the Cinque Terre in Corsica and Sardinia, and I saw the most incredible things I will probably ever see in my life, and I just got too used to it. By day 5, I was like, oh yeah, just another beautiful day on the boat. When in reality, I was seeing the most marvelous things the world has to offer, the clearest oceans, fish right at my toes, and these insane cliffs. And I was just used to it. Maybe this can give you the push you need to start to do more exercises and try and be more present in the moment and realize how lucky you are. It can even be as simple as you're at the cafe with your friends and you're having a great conversation. You can just sort of click out for a moment and think, I'm so lucky I have these people in my life. I'm so lucky I'm drinking this really good matcha right now. I think spoiled brats can be a rough term that he used, but I do think that we are never truly as grateful as we should be for the moments we have in life. And you know, the best moments are actually the most simple ones, like seeing a sunset, which we all have access to. And even in the worst moments of our lives, we can look up and see the sun setting or the stars and realize how lucky we are to be here. People love to have lived a great story, but few people like the work it takes to make it happen. But joy costs pain. You know, I think this quote resonated with me because I actually do think I go through the pain to push myself into certain moments that end up being obviously worth it. But I know a lot of people that, you know, they just sit down and they wish about a better life, but they don't go through the hell it takes to get there. And it's very easy to get stuck in life. And I've had those phases where I've been in bed for months, doing nothing with my life and just wishing it away and believing that watching YouTube videos about people traveling or making great friends is actually me. I've been living for other people's joy, but sometimes we have to go the extra mile to enjoy the best moments. There's been a few times lately where I've been in bed and I've been due to go out later that night, and I've said to myself, oh, I don't really want to. But when I've pushed myself and I've went out, I've been so glad and I've created great memories, and I wouldn't be here today without all the times I did go out. I hate these quotes that tell you that if you just wish for things, you can get it, because realistically, it takes time and it takes effort to live a good life and to have a good story, and we need to do something that might seem unpleasant. But as he says, joy costs pain. A character is what he does. Humans love to give themselves labels. I am a teacher, I am a student, I am a traveler, I'm a reader, I'm a chess player. But we don't always show that through our actions. We aren't always acting like the character that we portray ourselves are. Is there a dream of yours that you constantly are telling people, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start a new business, or I'm gonna finally change the job that I hate, or I'm gonna finally go and get that degree, but we sit there in our rooms and we never do a thing about it? I will do it. It's not as powerful as I am doing it right now. We can only live in the fantasy of the descriptions we give ourselves for so long before we realize that we are in fact not that person we actually hope to be. Donald Miller in the book, as I mentioned before, just believes he lives a really boring life and he doesn't want to. And so he actually takes a trip to Peru to do the Inca Trail, and he goes on this huge biking trip for America. And it's just so crazy reading this book, seeing a man who in his inner thoughts are written on the page believes he's so boring, but by the end of it has created all these wonderful memories, and the person that he wants to be, he finally is. Even reading his experience made me want to get up and do everything that I've said I wanted to do for a long time. I guess another quote on this topic that I've been kind of discussing that I want to mention from the book is, we have to force ourselves to create these scenes. We have to get up off the couch and turn the television off. We have to blow up the inner tubes and head to the river. We have to write the poem and deliver it in person. We have to pull the car off the road and hike to the top of the hill. We have to put our suits on. We have to dance at weddings. We have to make altars. I don't think there's anything I could add to that. I think he said it all and it's beautiful. We watch a commercial advertising a new Volvo and suddenly we feel like our life is not as content as it once was. Our life doesn't have the new Volvo in it, and the commercial convinces us we will only be content if we have a car with 47 airbags. God, how I hate the amount of adverts. There's so many times where I've said, oh, maybe if I just have that dress, people will think that I'm stylish, or maybe if I just buy these new shoes, people will like me more, or maybe I'm a bit of a loser because I just walk everywhere. Maybe I should get a car. Or maybe my flat isn't big enough and people think that I'm the worst person because my flat isn't that big. You know, we can't help it. We're constantly seeing bigger and better things around us, but the truth is we'll never get to that point of content, of true tranquility and happiness if we're constantly aiming for the next best thing. We have to be content with everything that we do have in life, and we have to accept that maybe we don't actually need that Volvo. Maybe if that advert had never come up, we never would have wanted it in the first place. I found that since deleting social media, I've really lacked in this department, which has been great. I've stopped craving things just because other people have them. I'm not seeing lots of people on Instagram on these marvelous 5-star vacations, and that I'm stopping taking photos to post for others to show that my life is better than everyone else and they should want to live my life. Okay, the final quote is maybe a little bit cheesy, but I just had to include it. Sorry. Last year, I read a book about a man named Wilson Bentley, who coined the phrase, "No two snowflakes are alike." He's the one who discovered the actual reality that no two flakes are geometrically the same. He was quite passionate about snowflakes. In one paper, a scientific paper mind you, he used the word beauty or beautiful more than 40 times. What amazed Bentley was the realization that each snowflake bore the scar of its journey. He discovered that each crystal is affected by the temperature of the sky, the altitude of the cloud from which it fell, the trajectory of the wind it took as it fell to earth, and 1,000 other factors. Obviously, in this case, snowflake is a kind of metaphor for us. I guess Donald Miller is trying to phrase it is we are exactly who we are because of the journey we've been on, and we may not look we may not be the most beautiful person, and we may not have the kindest heart or the biggest brain, but we are exactly who we're meant to be, and we're just physical evidence of the journey we've been on. I guess in another way, it's a quote to remind you about comparison and how we can't be comparing yourselves because no two people are the same. You know, I might not be the smartest one in the room at all times, and I may not always be the person in the group that those look up to the most, but I am exactly who I'm meant to be, and I'm just living proof of what I've been through. And I don't know, the quote just stuck with me. I found it really beautiful, and I guess if anyone needed to hear that. Okay, my matcha is ending and my camera's running out of charge, so I feel like this is the point to end the video. I know this was really weird and maybe a bit rambly and maybe a bit out of place, but gosh, guys, just go buy the book. I'll link it down below. I really recommend that you read this book. The inner thoughts of this simple man just made me realize how beautiful life is and how beautiful we are as people. And okay, I hope you all have a beautiful day or night wherever you are in the world. I hope you look at the stars tonight and realize how lucky we all are to be on this beautiful planet. If you enjoyed this video, here are 2 videos. I think give it a like, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.